Welcome everybody to our aspects video. Yes, and today through these aspects goggles we're gonna see how Ketu, the south node of the moon, sees things in astrology. Because remember, we need these glasses to see the aspects for this class. That's why I have to wear them. Also, it just makes me look cool and nuts, which I am. That's why I wear these things. So today we are going to be doing what it means to have Ketu's aspect in your horoscope. And if you do not know what your planetary alignments are, where the south node of the moon is placed in your horoscope, for that check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my magazines or my magazine on Destiny and Careers and my consultations at this link here. And especially on the second page of the report, you will see in this little box where each planet is placed. Okay? So, let's discuss Ketu. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, what is Ketu? Like I said, I can actually write a book on Rahu and Ketu. You never know, I might actually will. Because it's such a complex, such an intense subject. Do you know certain astrologers actually, I have known them, can just predict through Rahu and Ketu's position in your birth charts and divisional charts. I mean, they're so good at it. Just Rahu and Ketu alone, their sign placement, nakshatra placement, pada placements can tell so much about a person, because Rahu and Ketu also kind of activate their aspect at a certain age. So without knowing where any planet is, they can see that at age of 22, Rahu's fifth aspect became active. So this happened. So, it's just one of those things. We will discuss these later. But the south node of the moon, Ketu, is, to be honest with you, is the exact same thing as Rahu. In this mysterious equation and matrix of astrology, Rahu and Ketu are same thing. Because remember, when you go higher up in the divisional charts, Rahu, Ketu become one. They are sitting together in one house, conjunct. Like for example, your Trim Samsa chart, D30 chart for misfortune, diseases, illnesses, you can see Rahu, Ketu together. Because higher up in consciousness, where you do not have physical things that you're dealing with, you see Rahu and Ketu as they are. So it's the same body. But they do their own little magic tricks by being separated with each other 180 degrees. So they're always 7 places from each other. But Ketu is quite opposite of Rahu that I kind of discussed last week. When we're looking at the mundane astrology, the physical astrology of this, three-dimensional life or four-dimensional life that we live in, Ketu represents separation. As much as Rahu represents attachment, like, my God, I'm obsessed with this thing. You know, those people who just get obsessed in relationships, get obsessed in, marriages, and gets obsessed with their work. It's that attachment, right? Rahu puts this glue onto this thing that really isn't even real. What Ketu does is kind of just the opposite. It separates you. The obsession becomes the separation. So you see how Rahu, Ketu work together. That energy is the same. That obsessive energy is still the same. One attaches you, the other detaches you. So Rahu or Ketu represents separation. Wherever Ketu is, it kind of separates you from those things. Ketu represents Moksha, meaning oneness, nothingness, pretty much I would say. Ketu is nothingness. Ketu is not religion. Ketu is not even spirituality, actually. Ketu is not even spirituality. Ketu is nothingness. You know what Gautam Buddha talked about? This being in this zero-ness, this zero gravity, that's what Ketu is. We think it's spirituality because the thing is, in order to get to this point of zero-ness, we go through this path. Yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, occult, mysticism, sorcery, Kriya Yoga, Bhatra Yoga, and boom, you enter into the nothingness. And that's where Ketu is. But what Ketu does, he becomes this carnival ride that takes you towards these things. But you have to go through this process of experiencing this pathway of spirituality that we think is spirituality, but ultimately it is that nothing that it takes us to. So moksha, meaning liberation from all the nonsense of this world, including religion and spirituality. We are so new as human beings on this universe, we truly don't know spirituality. I mean, if a planet was just 1 million years younger than Earth, that means they're a million years advanced than us in all senses, including spirituality. So you can see how much we have to learn. And actually, to be honest with you, that the planet's average advanced species is, I think, about 250 million years older than humans have been on this planet. That tells you where they're at. They don't even care about us. We're like this junkyard ants that they're walking over and they're doing their own thing. And we're trying to see where they are. They don't want to show us. So that's what Ketu does. That's what Ketu really is. The path of Ketu is something that we experienced in the past. And what happens is we fall back on it every time we experience some sort of a hurdle with Rahu, right? Wherever Rahu is, we're trying to accomplish those things. We're trying to go towards those things. But when they do not work out, we fall back on Ketu. We're like, okay, the only thing I can do now is this, because I know this. So if Rahu is in the 10th house and you're having trouble gaining that fame, gaining that notoriety at your work, and if that doesn't work out, you always fall back into your hole in the home. You sit in your home and you're like, well, this is the place that I can be. This is the place that I can control. You always go home. And this is with any house. When Rahu doesn't work out, we always go back to our home, which is Ketu. Yet Ketu is still powerful in this present life. Because it's like my knowledge base. Like, let's say if I'm doing astrology, I'm doing consultation. I am learning astrology in this life form that I am in right now. And I will learn it till the day I die. That's how big astrology is. And I still won't learn 30-50% of it. But while I'm learning it, it is the Ketu that is telling me to do this. It is my past experiences with this subject of occult and astrology that makes me keep going and learning. But when something doesn't work out, when I can't figure out some combination, I can't figure out why this happened to this person, I tend to fall back on my Ketu. I tend to revert back and I'm just like walking around. I'm trying to concentrate and meditate. I'm going deep, becoming obsessive about more research on the things that I couldn't figure out. But it is Ketu that drives our experience to learn things in this life. So if you're an engineer and you're reading your books on physics, you're reading your books on advanced mathematics, it is the experience of Ketu that is saying, go and learn mathematics, go and learn physics, go and learn theory of relativity. Without Ketu, we will not be going towards Rahu. So this is why these polar angles are so important. It is our seesaw. We're always stuck in this whirlpool of Rahu and Ketu. All these other planets come and play their game, but we are always in these axes of Rahu and Ketu. And so Ketu represents this separation. Ketu represents our experiences, and Ketu represents where we just don't tend to find dissatisfaction or don't tend to find satisfaction in. So even if we fall back on Ketu, we're like, oh my God, we're back again at the same place that I hate. No, let me keep trying. So what do we keep trying with that Rahu? You see how they screw us up, how badly they screw us up. When we try to accomplish something, Ketu gives us hurdle, whether it's due to the Mahadasha transits, your own chart, we fall back on Ketu. But when you go back to Ketu, we're like, oh, I hate this thing. I don't like this thing. I don't, as much as I'm sitting here, no, let me just keep trying again. Yet Ketu has the aspect of Rahu. 5th and 9th aspect. Ketu does not have the 7th aspect, but Ketu has the access to the 7th place from itself due to Rahu, because they're like this telepathic link. They're working with each other. They're these cunning energies that are working with each other. And the reason why Ketu is malefic, as much as people think that it's spirituality, the reason why it's malefic is because it separates us from things that we are attached to. That's why we don't like it. That's why Ketu has been given a bad name. Ketu separates you from the things that are not taking you to your spiritual path, that are not taking you to that moksha path. And that's why we get irritated. The only person that doesn't, who may have the combination to understand Ketu. Somebody who may have a Muni Yoga, somebody who may have a Sannyasa Yoga, Moksha Yoga, will understand Ketu. So when they're separated, they'll be like, okay, well, this is part of life. What else you got for me? But the reason why Rahu Ketu have the 5th and 9th axis is due to Jupiter. Jupiter is the only planet that controls the malefic effects of Rahu and Ketu. He nullifies them. You know, people use this example a lot in astrology, that you put Rahu, Jupiter together, it's like putting a smart person next to a stupid person. So what's going to happen? You're going to become stupid. That is a very wrong analysis about Rahu and Ketu. No. I've read these examples many times, and I do not buy it one bit. What happens is that Rahu is an extremely smart energy. He's a magician. Okay? Rahu is this magician. Ketu is this sorcery energy. You know, when Krishna was born, Ketu was attached with moon, right on the ascendant, exalted. And remember, all the doors opened, and whatever his dad was took Krishna out. So these are very magician energy. One does illusionary magic. Rahu is about like David Copperfield doing magic in Vegas. Ketu is when you are sitting down and a book lifts up and comes after you, like some poltergeist. That shit is real. So these two planets are not stupid. They're here for a reason. So when Jupiter comes into this room, what Jupiter does, Jupiter is telling them, look, I know you guys are cunning, smart, trying to cheat people. You're trying to take people away from the reality, and you're giving them these misdirection. But listen, I can't let you do that because you're in the same room with me. So don't mess with me, because I will control you fully. However, why don't we work together? Why don't we make something new, something unusual, something that people have never seen in a good way, where people will feel good about themselves? That's what Rahu Jupiter or Ketu Jupiter conjunction does. Jupiter controls them. But because Rahu Ketu are chameleon planets, Ketu takes on the energy of the other planet, becomes the planet that it's conjunct or the sign that it sits in. And due to Jupiter controlling them, they took on Jupiter's quality. They're like, okay, well, since you are the only one who's controlling us, you know what? They did their little trick. They went behind the back and got Jupiter's aspect. So they aspect the 5th and 9th from themselves. Yet wherever Ketu is going to represent, wherever it sits, it shows this natural dissatisfaction from that house. It shows that you experienced those things in the past life. It's like you already know. Like, you know, when Ketu's in the 7th house, a person will be like, man, I just know these BS of marriage and partnerships. For some reason, I just know. I don't want to be in a relationship to understand what relationship, love, and partnership is. They're like, this is just nonsense for me. I've already experienced the nonsense in my past life. I want to work on myself. I need to worry about myself, my health, my life. Where Rahu is. So this is why when Ketu is in the 7th house, people tend to look for very spiritual partners. And people with Ketu in the 7th house need to look for a very spiritual partner. That marriage lasts very long, because you will find a person, like people, if guy and a girl or two guys, two girls have Rahu Ketu in their 1st and 7th axis, that marriage works perfectly, because these guys know what relationship was. So they create something new together. They truly understand the meaning of marriage. You and I are probably just trying to understand marriage in this time. We're trying to understand what partnership is, what raising children is, what dealing with spouses, right? So some people have already experienced that. But then Rahu will aspect the 5th and 9th place from itself. What does that do? What does the 5th and 9th aspect do? Well, remember, 5th aspect represents our education. We're here to learn. It's the education we're here to have fun with. It becomes our little pet project, like our children. It becomes our passion, right? And the 9th aspect becomes a dharmic aspect, the higher philosophy, the higher learning. So wherever Ketu aspects, it shows, both of them will show that one is attracted towards researching those parts of their life. They may be dissatisfied where Ketu is sitting, but they're curious about what is that doing and what is that doing. So in the ascendant, if let's say Ketu is in the ascendant, looks at the 5th house, a person will be more engaged in understanding what is it like to be with colleagues in a school. They're going to want to understand subjects by researching them. They want to know, okay, so I'm going to high school. What is it that I'm here to learn? They'll be more detached from it, but they're just wanting to explore what it is. The 9th aspect of Ketu is where Ketu really heavily does the research in. Ketu wants to understand that to the core. Because Ketu is a karka of research. Ketu becomes a karka of scientific research. Yet the 5th aspect of Ketu is a little bit lighter than the 9th aspect of Ketu. 9th aspect becomes, okay, I want to understand this thing to the core where there's nothingness. The 5th aspect shows, I'm curious about it. I may not really go after it, but I'm just curious about it. But what Ketu does where it sits, it separates you from that element. So separation part of Ketu will come from sitting. But it will not come from aspecting. Aspecting becomes that research point for you. You want to look at those things spiritually. You're really trying to understand those things like an alien, like you're here, you know, like Third Rock from the Sun. I don't know if you have guys watched this series. Watch the first episode. Very funny. You know, I think it's on Netflix. You watch them, they're curious about things. Oh, what is this? What is that? What is this? And then yet their true purpose is to find what humans are doing, what humans are like, their experience. That's what Ketu is. But see, there's a mysterious thing about Ketu's aspect. Okay? As much as Ketu does not separate us on the houses that it aspects, because mainly we feel the physical effect of the separation where Ketu sits. But Ketu aspect, what it's doing, it is emotionally separating us from those things. It emotionally separates us. Like let's say if there's no planets on 5th and 9th house and only Ketu's in the ascendant looking at those houses, as much as you want to research about those things, but once you find that after you research that what you were looking for is not there, you emotionally kind of then retract back to yourself. And then what happens is you don't find any satisfaction with yourself, and then you go down to the 7th place where Rahu is in the 7th house. You want to explore other people. You want to learn through other people. You want to research through other people. And this is why it is the most cluster of axis of Rahu and Ketu. I mean, it is Rahu and Ketu that kind of sometimes makes us go crazy. Because we want it, we don't want it. We want to research it, we don't research it. We want to separate ourselves, but not emotionally. We want to separate ourselves from physically and emotionally from where it's. I mean, it is this chaotic energy that will go back and forth, and it's like this recycling energy that keeps going in our life. So, but the thing is, at certain age, at certain time of age, Ketu can most definitely separate you from those elements. Like if Ketu looks at the 4th house, can separate you from your homeland. Ketu looks at the 11th house, can separate you from your network circle and make you more isolated emotionally. As much as you're surrounded by people, even when Ketu's aspecting, you just emotionally are not attached to those network circles. Ketu looks at the 10th house, or aspects the 10th house with this 5th and 9th aspect. As much as you love, hanging out with your father and you have a great relationship with your father, emotionally you're just somehow not attached to that. Emotionally you separate yourself from the father. You may emotionally separate yourself from your gurus. But if the support is there in the house that Ketu is aspecting, then that becomes quite a great support system. So as much as I'm saying that it will not separate you, emotionally it can separate you. So if Ketu is in the 4th house, you will be separated from home very early on. Somebody who just wants to leave home and go on their own independent way. But then Ketu will aspect the 8th house and the 12th house. Two very spiritual oriented houses, two very occultic houses. So when they leave that element, that aspects, that curiosity takes them to the 8th and 12th house. Like 4th house Ketu, these people are very much inclined towards going to foreign places, being in isolation, being in an ashram. They want to understand things that are dissatisfying them. They want to know, why is it that I'm dissatisfied in my home? And so they go to that spiritual research. They research about these things. And that's what this Ketu's aspect does. Dissatisfaction, remember, will only come from where it's sitting. Those research will come from where it aspects. Ketu also represents electricity, electronics. So if, let's say, Ketu aspects your 5th house and 9th house, and let's say if Mars is there, a person will be attracted towards electrical engineering. Saturn is there, a person would want to do mechanical engineering research. If Jupiter and Saturn are in the 5th or 9th house and Ketu aspects them, somebody who will be going towards research related to biomechanical fields. If Mercury, Mars are there, along with Saturn, and Ketu aspects it, shows that one may have tremendous interest towards physics, or wanting to understand, how physics of this world works. So that's what Ketu is, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So I hope this has helped and given some insights into Ketu's aspect. Thank you.